Hey guys and gals, it's Mr. V. Hey, this should be our third video. I'm not sure our last, but this is our third video of multiplying fractions. This one is going to be now as we step in a process. We did where we were multiplying the fraction by a whole number, and our answer was going up still every time because you're multiplying by a whole. Then the last video we watched, we flipped the problem around. So then you had you had a whole number. So you had two candy bars, but you only wanted half of them. And so we learned how that works. We learned our terminology of what you have goes second, what you want or what you're doing goes first. When you put them together, it's what you get. And then that the multiply sign means two words. Times or of are the biggest two that help us. Remember, if the whole number is first, and we call that the multiplier. So remember that. That's a key thing to remember. When the multiplier is first and it's a whole number, it's going to go up. If it's a fraction, it's going to go down. Well, today what we're doing is we're going to do fraction by fraction. So we're going to have a fraction of something, but we're only going to want a fraction of it. We only want a piece of it. So our answer is still going to go down because we only want a part of it still. Okay? But when we draw these, make sure you're paying attention to how we draw these because we do draw them a little different. In fact, when you draw these, it's going to look eerily similar to how you've drawn something else in class. And I'm going to ask you guys that when you guys get back to class tomorrow on what you notice. What does this look like? What models have we done before with this? Okay? So kind of keep that in mind. You will need, and this might be a hint to give it away, you will need two colors. So you'll need a pencil to write with, but you'll also need two colors. Highlighters work fine. Colored pencils then would be the best after that. Okay? So we're going to just call this multiply fraction by fraction. Okay? Now, we already know how to do this based on the computation. We already know how to do this based on if I just said do it without the visuals. Remember, we're going to do visuals to make sense of it. So once we make sense of it, then we're allowed to just multiply across, which is what we will do. But I want you to be able to make sense of this. That way we have higher level thinking skills when we're ready to do the word problems. Okay? So again, multiply of or times what you have equals second or last. What you want, and again, you can pause me at any time if I'm going too fast, but this is all review. Or what you want or doing is first. Multiplier equals first number. When whole is first, product goes up. When whole is second, oh, let me do that. Sorry, let me fix that. When fraction is first, product goes down. So those are all the rules and the reviews that we've done so far. Okay? So multiply over times depending on how the problem looks. What you have goes second, what you want or what you're doing is first. The multiplier is the first number. So first number is what we call a multiplier. When the whole is first, so when the whole goes first in the problem, 3 times 1/2, your answer is going up. If it's 1/2 times 3, your answer is going down based on what you have. Okay? So here we go. What if I have 1/2 times 1/3? Okay? And there's my problem. Oh, you can't see it. Sorry. What if you have 1/2 times 1/3? Okay. Now, again, we easily know I can answer this problem, and I'm not debating that. We've already learned multiplying across, and I get that. Okay? But stay with me in this because I want you to truly understand what's going on. I want you to draw it and visualize it. Okay? So yes, I know the answer is 1/6. That's not the point. The point is not to get the answer. The point is to truly understand and be able to explain. Okay? Because can you explain to me why it's going down? Some of you might because you've been paying attention to the last lesson. But let's draw this. Okay? And let's see if you can figure out how familiar it is. So what do I have in this problem? I have the 1/3. Okay? What you have goes second. I want 1/2. So again, I can say I want 1/2 of the 1/3. So I want 1/2 of the 1/3 donuts. So I'm going to draw a box of donuts because remember, every fraction starts out as a whole. So 1/3 used to be a whole at one time. We got to cut it into 1/3, and that's all I have. I have the 1/3. That's what I have. So the shaded part represents what I have. Okay, so there's what I have right there. Got it? Now, do I have these other two? No, but they're still part of the whole. And if you remember right, a denominator always represents what makes up your whole. So that's why we still need the whole thing. We look at this to see what we're going to get, but the denominator represents the whole thing. So that's why we always draw the whole. Okay, so we have a whole. It's out of 1 out of 3, but I only want half of it. So say that to yourself in your head. Because if you just see this problem as 1/2 times 1/3, yeah, you'll get 1/6. But does it make sense to you? If you say it with the word of and slow yourself down and picture it, 1/2 of a third. I want 1/2 of it. So do you want all of this? No, you want half of it. And if you want half of it, what does it mean you're going to do? You're going to cut it. Okay, we talked about this the other day. When you have a fraction, you are getting smaller. A fraction, when the multiplier is a fraction, your number's getting smaller. You're cutting it, splitting it, grouping it, which is hard to understand because those are all the division words we learned. But they weren't necessarily division words. They were words that made us understand that our answer or product was going down. So we want 1/2. I'm going to cut it in half. Now, when I cut it in half, I'm cutting the whole thing in half because, again, the denominator represents what makes up your whole. Okay, so you cut the whole thing no matter what. So when I cut the whole thing, now I'm going to shade what I have. Okay, and I'm going to just shade all 1/2. So I'm going to shade this way too. So I could just stop there, but I could also shade all of this. Okay, so then there's my shade right there. So you got to ask yourself, where's my answer in this drawing? Well, this is what I have, but it's not what I want. I don't have this, don't have this. This is in the want category, but I don't have it. Where the double shade color is what I want and what I have. So that's what you're looking for. So how many pieces do I have? I have 1 for the numerator. How many pieces are my whole in? 6. And that's how you get 1/6. Okay, so you concentrate. This is what you have. You shaded what you wanted. Now, could I have shaded just this piece? Yes, but I like to shade the whole 1/2 just to make it easier. That way it clearly shows you 1/2. That's why I do that. Okay, and a lot of times so does the most visuals you see. Okay, let's try another one. What if it was a little bit bigger? What if it was 2/3 times 3/4? Now remember, when visuals get to be too big, they aren't helpful. So we're not going to do these forever, and we're always going to do them when they're pretty small. So again, pay attention. The reason this is going to get easier for us is because we have all the basic understandings of everything we learned up here. Okay, what do I have? I have the 3/4. What do I want? I want the 2/3. So I'm going to draw a hole, and it's cut into fourths. Okay, you don't have to make it huge, but don't make it small either. You guys are, when I'm watching you make your own models, you're making them a little smaller than I would. Now, shade what you have. Again, same thing. This is no different than what we've been doing. Shade what you have. I have 3/4. So I'm going to shade 3 of my 4 pieces of candy or candy bar, whatever you want to say, blue. So I have 3/4 of a candy bar, of a Hershey's candy bar. I don't want all of it, though. How much do I want of it? I want a lot of it, but I don't want all of it. And that's why my answer is going to go down. If I wanted all of it, this would say 3/3, and I would eat the whole thing. If this was a whole number or an improper fraction, 4/3, 5/3, 6/3, or anything, then I'm eating more than I have. So I'm eating this, and I'll have to draw another one. But I'm not drawing another one. If you notice, there's only one box here. There's only one hole here. there's only one whole here because I don't need another whole. I didn't eat the whole thing. So you're going to have to be careful and think about it instead of just being a doer on which model do I draw. Okay. I have a fraction. I only want a piece. I don't have to draw multiple. I don't need multiple. So a lot of this requires thinking. It's not hard thinking. It just requires you to think. So I have 3/4. I want 2/3. So I want to take 2/3 of this. So what do I have to do first? Well, first off, I got to do what the denominator tells me. I got to cut it into thirds. So I'm going to take my candy bar and I'm going to cut it into thirds. So there's my thirds. Now, notice how I cut it. I always went the opposite way. So my fourths, when I did it in fourths, I went this way. And sometimes it's even best to even write the 1/4, 1/4, 1/4, 1/4, because you can get lost in which way to go. And then now these are my thirds. 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. Now, how many thirds did you want? So how many thirds? You wanted 2 of them. Numerator tells you tells you right there. Okay, so right here, I'm now going to shade this way. There's 1/3. Okay, see, based on that, here's my second third. Okay, where my answer lies is in the double shaded areas, because they both represent, and I'll try to do this with my hands, what I have, what I want, what I get. Okay, the pink represents what I have. No, I'm sorry. The blue represented what I have. The pink represented what I get. Where they combine, I'm screwing that up. My fault. The blue represents what I have. The pink represents what I want. Where they overlap represents what I get. So if I count, remember, I'm counting 1/4. I'm not counting just one. I'm not going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, 4/4, 5/4, 6/4. So if you count them up, okay, 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, 5/4, 6/4, 7/4. Anyone catch my mistake? These are not fourths. Okay. What are the pieces? Because you cut it, because you changed the cut. Denominator is going to change now because you changed the cut. They were first cut into fourths, but when you cut it into thirds, you made all the pieces smaller. Okay. So it's not fourths. Okay. So we got to count how many total pieces there are. Okay. And you would see, if you counted, there are 12 total pieces. So count all the total pieces. There are 12. And then you would say, okay, 1, 12, 2, 12, 3, 12, 4, 12, 5, 12, 6, 12. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Numerator is 6. Denominator is 12. It's okay if you count the pieces like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm okay with that, as long as you understand you're counting twelfths and not wholes. So your answer is 6/12, which hopefully you know is also 1/2 when you simplify. We haven't talked about that much. Okay, let's do one more. Hopefully that's making a little sense to you. Again, let's go 1/4 times 2/5. 1/4 times 2/5. Okay, so again, I'm going to draw my visual. The bigger the denominators, you're probably going to want to make your whole a little bit bigger. We won't go much bigger than this, just because, again, once visuals get too big, they're pointless. So figure out what you have. I have 2/5. I want 1/4. I want a fraction of something. Pay attention to that. Fraction of something. That's what tells you it's multiply right there, especially what we talked in the word problems. So the fraction is going to make it go down because I only want a piece of it. I want a part of it, a piece of it. Okay, so what do I start with? I draw 2/5. Try to make them perfect the best you can. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's my fifths. I'm going to shade blue. Actually, you know what? I have a yellow over here. Let me shade the yellow. Okay, there's my 2/5. But how much do I want of it? I only want 1/4. So, and it's even better if, again, I would put 1/5, 1/5. If you label this as you do it, this is going to cause you less mistakes. I promise you. Okay? I know it's 30 seconds and more work, but it will cause you less mistakes. Now I'm going to cut it into fourths. Why fourths? My denominator tells me. I'm going to cut it into fourths. I don't want all of it. I want 1/4. So cut it into fourths, going the other way. And again, I'm going to label it. There's my 1/4 pieces going left to right, horizontal, we call that. And I'm going to shade one of them. I'm going to shade the bottom one this time. Doesn't matter which one you shade. So there's that. Okay. So again, where's my answer? It's where they combine what I have, what I want, what I get. So what do I get? I get these two pieces here. But what are those pieces? How big are those pieces? They are not fifths. They are not fourths. If you count them all up, and you can use your area skill, length times width. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 and 4 equal 20. So your answer is 2/20. If you just multiply it across, you would also see that as well. Okay. So things I want you to focus on. Understand why your answer is going down. Okay. You're going down because you want a piece of it. Okay. You are just differences from yesterday and the day before. You're starting with a fraction. So notice we don't have multiple holes because we didn't need it. We didn't even have one hole. And out of this, we didn't even want all of it. That's why you're only drawing one box, one hole, and then you're cutting it up. Does it remind you of anything? Do you remember doing this? We did this with another skill. Okay, if you tell me what skill it is tomorrow, I'll give you a piece of candy to see if you remember what skill we did. All right, guys, hope this helps. We will see you later.